Hi guys, it's Angie, and I wanted to talk to you a bit about early access games because, as you probably know, there's tons and tons of those on Steam, and sometimes you just don't know what to follow. There are just so many options, and so many games are just staying in the early access forever and never get truly released. And it's a shame most of the time because in my opinion, it makes the developers feel less responsible for their product. They think that we can still somehow tweak it later. Like instead of thinking about releasing a full game and later if there are any bugs or mistakes, patching it, they decide to put it in an early access and just leave it there forever. I think you probably know which game I'm talking about, which is the main offender in this category. But apart from that, I want to talk to you a bit about a few games that I've been following on Steam, looking at their development and how they are turning out to be. And the most important thing I always check when I'm following a game, first thing, if there are frequent updates, because if it's an early access game, if it's an early access game, in my opinion, there should be a lot of updates. If there is a planned release date, if it's just like, oh, in 2 or 3 years, it's a bit shady for me because you are not setting a deadline for yourself. So it's possible that the person, or rather the developer, won't be checking out this deadline and keeping it in mind to follow it. So there isn't a lot of the games that I'm following, but I wanted to share them with you guys. Maybe you'll find some of them interesting. But in any case, they are, like I said, in early access. So if you really want, you can check them out. If you feel like it, you can buy them and you can play them. But I always advise to wait, so you won't get into unfulfilling promise. So, a few games. Let's start with the Slime Rancher. It's very cute. I really like it. It's a very cute farming or gathering management simulator. I really like the design. I really like how the whole thing is planned. The really interesting thing is that you can try merging the slimes with themselves. Like you have, let's say, a tabby one, and you have a rocky slime, and you can make a rocky tabby. It's just fantastic. They also have different characteristics. They eat different kinds of food. They can eat fruit, they can eat vegetables, they can eat meat, like chickens, for example. But they can also be dangerous, like there are flaming ones, there are kinds that appear only during the night. They are pretty amazing, and because I really love management sims, this is something exactly up my alley. The expected release date is around spring 2017, so hopefully it will be coming out soon. So I'll be checking out this game. Definitely, once it comes out, I'm gonna buy it. It has a pretty frequent updates, so it's very good. You can see that the developer didn't abandon the project, that it's still in the works, which is a huge plus. The game doesn't have any like story from what I heard, but I think it's enough for me. Now, another game that I'm also following is the one you might have seen already on my channel. It's called the Pedestrian, and it's a very clever idea for portal-like puzzles. It has a very nice design. I really like the blur in the background. like you can observe what is happening around, but you know, the main focus is on a sign that the whole gameplay takes place. I really hope that they'll make some kind of level design tool so you can make your own levels, your own puzzles. That would be just terrific. But you know, so far let's just hope it comes out when it's expected. And the date, well, it's not an exact date, but the developer said that it's going to come out early 2017. So I think it's safe to say that it should be released in the first half of the year, but we'll see. If anything changes, you can probably expect to see a full gameplay on my channel. The next game that I just can't wait to get my hands on is Astroneer. It's a sandbox exploration, so a bit of survival game that many people described as what No Man's Sky should have been. Although I have to say that I can see where this is coming from, but I think it's too much to say. Because still, No Man's Sky was supposed to be this huge idea, and this is a very simple idea in my opinion. Astroneer, it's just you, let's say, crashed on a planet and you need to discover what you can salvage or what you can use to get out of it. It's not a space exploration, it's a planet exploration, so it's in much smaller scale. Also, the design is very different, and I don't think there was a promise of like randomly generated worlds, but I'm not sure. What's really important is that this game has multiplayer. You can play with a few people at once, which is adorable and very lovely. The whole design, the aesthetic of the game I find very pleasing, because although it's you know, like space and very futuristic, it's pretty cartoony and very colorful, which I very much like. Unfortunately, there isn't a specific date. Like some time ago, the developer said that it's probably that they are probably gonna release the game in 2 or 3 years, or 1 or 2 years. I don't really remember, but for me it's not a very reliable information, so I'll just keep my fingers crossed that at some point they're gonna release the information as to when the game is supposed to go live. The early access is available, but I heard also that it's pretty buggy and you might reconsider getting it at this stage because it's said to be a very early alpha. The next game I follow, and I hope will be released soon, but can't really tell, is Ghost of a Tale. It's a RPG action-adventure game with amazing art style. I think it's a main focus, considering that also there's only a handful of people working on it, but among them are professional game designers, and also I think there was one person who professionally did animated movies, I think, but I'm not 100% sure, so you might want to check that out. But still, the style of the game, the feel, the details are just amazing, and the story in this game is pretty charming, but at first it sounds a bit cliche because it's a small but brave mouse minstrel on a quest to find his wife. So okay, it's in my opinion not very it's not very groundbreaking, but I think we can work with that. Also with this adorable mouse, the details in the animation are amazing. The expected release date is supposed to be around 2017 or 2018, so I cannot really tell when it's gonna come out. There are no specific dates, unfortunately. Another game that I am considering getting before it leaves early access is Niche. It's a turn-based strategy, but not exactly. It's not a strategy that you would expect, like you have your army and you have your legion and you march against the enemy. No, it's a turn-based strategy, but your main focus is survival and, let's say, evolution of your species. You have a handful of these creatures and you can breed them, deciding what kinds of traits should be passed to the next generation. And you need to consider the environment, because there are different kinds of environments. You need to consider what kind of resource are available. Is it, let's say, fruits from the bushes or from the trees, or is it meat? What is most available thing? It is said to be inspired by games like Creatures, which I was a huge fan of, Don't Starve, which is also pretty great, and Black and White, which was also my longtime favorite, and a few others. But when I read that description, I was like, I'm sold. You just took all of my favorite games and merged them together. That's just brilliant. Thank you. The planned release date is in the first quarter of 2017, so I hope it will be released full soon, but I'll keep my eye out. I will keep my eye out on it. The last game with which I broke my rule not to buy early access games, and to be honest, I wish I didn't. I wish I didn't buy it. It's Subnautica. It's a fantastic game. It's a like sandbox survival game in an alien ocean with many different fantastic creatures. It's amazingly creative and very well done. I suspect that there is a story, because there were some, when I was playing the game, there were some story elements, but to be honest, they weren't very developed at that point. I think for now the main focus of the developers is to have this whole world alive, just to make it feel alive with creatures and with plants and with everything. They put many different artifacts hidden, or some unknown technologies. But I heard that with one of the latest updates, there was a bit of story-wise bits and pieces of information. But the plus is that the game has very frequent updates. The minus is that those updates usually require that you start the game from scratch to have the new updated content available. And because those updates are pretty frequent, you can't get, let's say, settled in the game before you need to start anew. Also, in my opinion, it breaks the feel of exploration and that feel of discovering stuff when you have from time to time new update with the information like, oh, we added this, we added that, we added new creatures, we added this part of the ocean. So I wish I didn't buy this game, so once it's out of the early access, I could have played it full and I could have discovered everything myself. Because right now I will be comparing everything with what I already saw, and also I will learn things that not necessarily I wanted to know. But it's still amazing. It's just fantastic. And the biggest minus is that nobody knows when it's gonna come out. So I have my biggest fear that this game will be in early access forever, like I said in the beginning of this video. That it's gonna be one of those games that, although are worked on very frequently and they are a great game, it's still never coming out full. So yeah, that's my fear about Subnautica. But all of the rest, almost all other games have some kind of information when they are planned to be released full. What do you guys think about this? Have you heard of any of those games? Have you played them? I would love to hear if you played any of those games apart from Subnautica, because I know I played. But any other, just tell me. I would love to hear about those. Do you have any games that you are looking forward to that's supposed to come out this year? Just let me know. I hope you like this video. I hope you'll like any of those games that I like. And thanks again for watching. You can like, subscribe if you are not. You can share the video. And right now, thanks again and bye!